Morning, how are we? Or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Adam Duval, the mental health warrior. And this morning, no, it's not coffee morning, but I've finally had my first cuppa. I've got Mike Walsh. Now, you must remember him from a couple of episodes. Obviously, he was on yesterday for Warriors of Attraction special, but then he was on a panel as well with, obviously, his lovely partner, Kim. But now I've finally got my claws into him one-on-one, which Alan Stevens is still after, so I had to give him a bit of a shout-out there. Mike Walsh, he is a shaman healer, which we're going to cover, and he's also a Reiki Master. He's an Irishman, but he's from Australia. So all I can say is we'll see you in about 30 seconds, and please share this all. Please share this in awareness, because I'm going to enjoy this. Hello, Mike.
Well, hello.
Hello. Finally, I've got my claws into your one-on-one, which Alan's been after for some time, but I beat him to it. So sorry about that, Alan. Right. I think obviously Kate May has tuned in. I think Kim's going to be tuning in at some point.
Yeah.
When she chooses to. But yeah. Before we start in getting your story out, I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you to because I know you was nervous yesterday, but I thought we can't have our guests nervous. So come on. And speaking of Kim, she's here now. So don't worry, Kim. I won't embarrass him that much. So I'm going to say, do you prefer Indian or Chinese? Like foods?
I prefer Indian.
Indian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you prefer... Kim loves us both. But do you prefer filtered water or tonic water?
Filtered.
Filtered, yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Are you indoor or outdoor person?
I'm an outdoor person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Early bird.
Early bird.
Early bird.
Yeah, and the last one I'm going to ask is, which I absolutely hate this question, but I'm doing it for my partner. Does pineapple belong on pizzas?
Yes.
No. No.
I love pineapple.
I don't like pineapple. I don't like it. It don't belong anywhere. Yeah, the early bird gets the worm. There you go.
Yeah.
Melissa Christie's here as well. Oh, Australia! Australia's tuning in all over. Right. I'm going to start with, before obviously we find out the powerful roles you've got in the Reiki Master and Shaman healer, I want to know, who is Michael Walsh? Like, where did he grow up? What kind of child was he? All that.
Okay. I grew up in a small little place called Knockaday. And what it means is the Hill of God. It's out in the countryside. It faces up to the Galtee Mountains. And yeah, I'm the youngest of 6, 4 brothers and 2 sisters. And my life growing up was quite interesting because my grandfather, my uncle, and my dad and all were involved in the graveyard and grave digging. So since I was a kid, I used to be up and down to the graveyard all the time, and sometimes inside digging out the graves.
Mm-hmm.
my work as after school and everything was looking after sheep. I used to work with next door neighbor. He had sheep and cattle and everything, so I used to look after the sheep and all that side of it. It was handy for pocket money, growing up.
Yeah.
And I found that I had a very strong connection with animals. Yeah, I found that very strong connection with them. Yeah, I love my sports. So I was fanatic on playing my sports, playing the GAA.
All right.
But the interesting thing of all of this was my whole life that I was quite intuitive. So when it came to be my time to take over looking after the graveyard, Labmalaga graveyard, um, every time I was walking around with the lawnmower, I used to say I used to see this lady out the side of my eye sitting on a headstone. And, you can imagine the hair be standing on your head and you kind of look, but it's not there. And I went home to my dad and I said, Dad, have you ever seen a woman sitting on a headstone? And he said, Son, don't ever be frightened of what is past. Be more
Yeah.
frightened of what is present.
Mm.
And we never had any more conversations about seeing spirits in different ways. But I got what he was saying to me at the time. So yeah, so I ended up at a very young age of 20 having my son Simon, and yeah, it kind of at such a young age you're kind of going, right, I have to settle down here and get my bearings in life. And yeah, I got married at 24 and separated at 29, sadly. And yeah, I had a daughter, Saoirse, after that, just before the separation. And yeah, it was quite interesting where my life was going to take a journey after my marriage ended. And in 2011, I found myself on a plane aiming for Australia, and my journey began. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And you're still on this journey now.
yeah, most definitely.
Oh, we all are. We all
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
Well, I'm on a journey with my beautiful wife that's just tuned in now. Morning,
yeah.
gents, which she never says that.
Good
We've
morning.
got a question for you from Adelaide, Melissa. Did your dad ever shut that intuition receptively shut down? Do you know what? I'll put it up for you. There you go.
My dad did. My dad definitely shut it down within himself. My dad, he was a beautiful man, but he quite enjoyed the alcohol, and that was his way of suppressing. Because sadly, my dad just passed, so forgive my emotion here.
Thanks, all right.
Um, yeah, and before he was passing, he often saw little kids at the end of the bed and a dog and multiple of different things. And that's when I was able to connect with my dad before he left, because he could tell me about these things. So going back and all that time ago, yeah, my dad, he didn't speak too much more about that in relation to that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I want to bring up what you were saying to me just before we came on about how you went outside in Ireland, you switched your phone off, and you
Yeah,
came across these places you've never heard of before.
yeah, it was quite. See, I used to go back to see my children, and of course, here in Australia, everybody gets up very early in the morning. So when I went back to Ireland, people weren't getting out of bed or doing much until maybe 8 or so o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Not everybody, but and. I used to wake around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd sit into my car and leave the hotel, and I'd find myself in different parts of the country. So I decided one day I was going to shut off all my internet and everything, and I was solely going to go with guidance from my spirit where I wanted to be, or where would I go. And plus, what I was doing was I was building up this muscle of listening to my intuition and listening to the guidance that I had from within. And I found myself coming to crossroads, and I would say left or right. And I listened. I just kept listening to my intuition inside. And it was probably one of the best trips that I've ever had in my life, just listening to my inner guidance. And I ended up in amazing places, meeting amazing people at that pinnacle moment. Like I sat above a knock, and that's above outside in County Mayo, I think it is. I might be wrong, someone might correct me. But I ended above a knock, and there was a guy handing out pamphlets, and I was just sitting there, and I'm kind of going, why am I here? This is like 8:20 in the morning, and I'm sitting here looking at the cross. And he sat down beside me, and he started sharing. He said, I was once sitting here, and he said, I was so lost. And he started sharing his whole experience of his life to me. And when I left there, I just found myself making my way back down to the country, and I ended up from where St. Patrick was a monk and everything. And these are places that I never even knew where they were or anything, but Spirit brought me to all these lovely landmarks and amazing places.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And obviously with Melissa, Kim actually says Michael has a strong intuition, which clearly is showing that in the first 10 minutes of this live. But Melissa put, wow, thank you for sharing. It is the anniversary of her father's death today.
Say that one more time.
Melissa says, wow, thank you for sharing. It is the anniversary of her father's death today. So obviously our sympathies are with you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously a fellow Irish person has tuned in, Caroline Murphy Bennis, of former Warrior. She put, hi, Michael, lovely to hear an Irish accent on Warrior TV.
Hi, Caroline.
Yeah, we're attracting the Irish.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. Please all share this in awareness, and if you've got any questions, throw them at him. Yeah, throw them.
Yeah, throw them out there.
Right. I want to bring on to the mental health side. Now, we've all got our perspectives on these labels, whether it's depression, anxiety, trauma. But when you hear the words mental health, what comes to you, like on the spiritual side of it?
So that's an interesting question.
Thank you. I mean,
because a lot of people that are quite spiritual, they end up in most cases getting heavily medicated. And you might have certain things going on in your life, but from my experience and different people that have come to me, not all these different aspects that may be going on in your life may be bad. It's just finding the balance. And like from what my experience was, it was like I could have easily went and got medicated and different things, but I always believed that my spirit was always there to guide me. I didn't see it as a bad thing. For some other people that can be the case. There can be different entities that can create a lot of dilemmas in a person's life. You can have those attachments that can attach you through different types of traumas and different elements, because 9 times out of 10 it is that we are all healers. If your child falls, you'll go and rub their leg, or you'll nurse their hand. We all have an ability to heal through our hands. So as for somebody that feels that there's a lot going on, there is multiple of different ways to break that down to actually get to the source of it. And that was the one thing that I found was quite interesting, was getting to the actual source of what was. Don't ever be thinking that you're broken, because you're not broken. You just haven't worked out what actually is working for you and not working for you. Yeah.
It's like I've seen quite a few theories on all of this.
Yes.
Well, our lives are basically like either a jigsaw puzzle, but also I've seen that another theory that we're all like Lego, where, for example, if you created a house and you just drop it, obviously it's going to break into million pieces, shall I say?
Yeah.
And then you start putting it back together bit by bit, and that's how I see life.
Exactly. And in a lot of cases, there can be fragments missing in your life. Now, there's lots of different types of energies there that would be quite happy for those energy sources not to be fully reunited with a person. And in different energy lines, and I know I'm speaking very far out there, but there is often different types of attachments that are there to try and help you, protect you, but often they can create a lot of problems. And that's what a lot of people come to me with, is with those different problems, and it's easy to clear them in the right way, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at what age did you actually come across and finally accept, right, I've got these problems and I want to take action on my life?
You know, that was for me. For me, it happened in 2013-14. I had a full breakdown in my life. I had a full breakdown to the point, and I'm emotional again, so forgive me.
Hey, Mike, it's all right.
Yeah.
You won't be the first to break down on life. You won't, and you certainly won't be the last.
Yeah. In 2013-14, my life, I had totally ran it aground. And for me was to try and camouflage my younger years. And it having those guilt and the shame and the blame and all those different aspects, they all came to the light and came to the table. Be it an abuse, and be it you can go from being abused to being the abuser, which is you abuse yourself, like self-harming. Like not many people knew that I was self-harming. There was probably three people in my life that ever knew that. But it coming into 2013 or 14, my world fell apart. My lies, my shame, my guilt, all came to the forefront. Relationship collapsed, and all of my own doing. And it's funny, I never actually missed a day with work. But as soon as I got home, I used to collapse on the ground. I'd have a shower, but I'd never make the bed after the shower, for probably 3 or 4 months. And in that space and time, somewhere inside me said, it's time for you to get up. And I had made that phone call that I needed help. And I'm so delighted to those groups of men's groups and all the support groups, and the shamans, great friends, everybody that was there for me to help me to where I am now. They lifted me up, and they saw something inside me that I couldn't even see. But as once I started doing the work, I could start to see myself. But yeah, I broke. I was broken in the sense that, yeah, I give weeks just crying. Yeah, I give weeks just crying. I used to have sunglasses on at work, and I was operating the machines, and I was crying every day. And anybody come over and whatever, I'd realign myself. And in fairness to the guys that I was working with, they all really understood, and they were a great bunch of guys. That
Yeah.
great support.
Absolutely. And this is what I'm thinking, is actually creating a group via the Mental Health Warriors for just men. So
Yeah,
then they can open up about everything. But at the same time, I'm thinking, do I actually want to do that? Because in reality, I want females to actually understand that men do have emotions. We do have feelings. And we're not, I'm going to say it blunt, we're not pussies just for breaking down and having these negative days. We're not.
yeah. And that's the interesting thing is, when I started sitting in the men's groups, I found that sometimes I wasn't able to speak because within the whole group of people, the stories were very, very similar. And I was like scratching my head, kind of going, how is this possible? And it showed me that to be able to have a voice. And yeah, it just really helped me to have a voice in my life. And I found was within the group work, I saw that there wasn't any avenue um, for, say, for instance, when you step back out of the group sessions, that there wasn't something else there for people to help them in different ways. So for the likings of me being so sensitive in different ways, I was avoiding crowds of people. I was avoiding conflict situations. I was just really scared, and that's where I found going into doing the shamanism world was, I could go on my journeys and learn so much about myself, and it showed me where there was a lot of strength. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did actually have a question from Melissa. Where did you learn your shamanism?
It's very, there is a couple of groups around Ireland and all that are doing it as well. I learnt it over here in Sydney, and there's some beautiful people teaching here, and I'm blessed because I'm able to go with the Aboriginal people as well and learn from them. The beautiful thing is, I'm very intuitive when I'm put on the land and when I start to walk through the land, and the land is always speaking. The universe is always speaking. The spirits are always there to speak to you. Like, people need their houses cleared because there's energy everywhere.
There
And
is.
I had this passion. I just wanted to learn so much that I possibly could, be it learning about crystals, be it learning about drumming, be it learning about sound bowls, be it learning about how to take people on safe journeys and bring them back again. I was just got so passionate, and I found that that's where a lot of my beauty started to come to the table. I can use my voice. I can use I can use the drum. I use the soundboards, which I love the most, and create something really beautiful.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm tapping more into my spiritual side as well, and I've recently purchased tarot cards,
Yes. Yeah.
which I absolutely love. But there is one person who I believe you will really connect with, and she's actually new to the Warriors as well. She's called Laura Mazzota. She's from somewhere in America. I can't. New York, I think it is. New York. And she's all spiritual, and she
Yeah.
pushes that out there like there's no tomorrow. So I believe you two will really connect.
Yes. Yeah. I have this passion to help people. And like the very beautiful thing is my daughter she's very intuitive as well. And everything that I was learning, I just kept teaching her because um, there was Uncle Phil in the Aboriginal world. Uncle Phil said to me, he said, Michael, if you do not share your story, then how are people ever going to know? And he was all about me getting my voice, using my voice. And while I was sitting with him one night, I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning inside my tent out in the bush, and I'm scared of the dark. I've been scared of the dark all my life because I find as soon as it goes dark, all the spirits seem to come out and play. And
They do.
yeah, and so imagine this: I'm sitting inside in the bush. It's really, really dark, and there's lots of big trees and everything. I gets up and I goes for a walk, and it was just becoming dawn break. It was just coming up to dawn, and I found myself after probably 2 hours sitting beside this tree, and I started singing. And I sang with the sun coming up, and it was so beautiful. But I didn't realize it was a tree that was struck by lightning. And I always have the belief system is what is above is below, and this is the connecting point where it came to meet the earth. And I always find him as a very energetic space to sit around,
Yeah.
because this beautiful tree had sacrificed itself for all the rest of them. And yeah, I always have very beautiful moments with sitting beside trees.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about what mindset did you have to say, right, I need to get out of Ireland and move to Australia?
Yeah, that was really difficult for me. That was heartbreaking to say the least. I had to say goodbye to my two children, but I I was literally living on 20 euros a week by the time I paid my rent and paid whatever needed to be paid. And looking back on it, I had been struggling mentally since a very young age, and when my marriage ended and I was living in the local town, I found it very, very difficult because I felt like my whole world was crumbling. But my partner at the time said that about an opportunity to go to Australia, and I weighed it up for a few years before we actually decided, yeah, we were going to do this. But yeah, it really was a heartbreaking decision to make. And I had this big dream that I could create a beautiful world for my children, but sadly it wasn't in Ireland. And here I am in Australia, and I might be able to create a world for them. It was a difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
It broke me in more ways than I can explain. For To be very honest, that was a lot of the guilt and shame. Um, I never felt that I could enjoy my life, and I've two beautiful kids, and their support has been absolutely amazing. And as they're growing older, and I'm growing to understand and see the changes and the shifts, and me being able to actually share a lot of my upbringing and different things, um, it has helped to ease that yearning in the heart. But I don't honestly think it would have been really difficult. The way my headspace was. I took up running. I took up marathon running, to try and clear my headspace in different ways. And the funniest of all was, who was I running against? Only myself, my shadow. The one thing that had had been trying to catch up with me for a long time. Every time my shadow come close, I used to push it away. So yeah, leaving Ireland, I'll never ever forget them moments, and I'm very grateful that I have this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I would say to anybody out there that's listening is, if you're in that space or if you're in a very low space, you know, it's like the movie Sing, and when he falls on his back and his dad's beautiful Colosseum was going to be all falling down. He says the only way is up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I always use that to keep lifting myself up. And yeah, I might get knocked down again, but it's resilience, and I learned the art of resilience. Yeah, I learned the art of resilience.
Absolutely. And I have to ask, with you coming to Australia from Ireland, any
Yeah.
regrets? Any regrets?
I'd be very honest. It's the only way I'd rule my book now going forward. I really, I say I have explained about my children.
Yeah.
I don't have any other regrets. No, it has grown me from a boy to a man.
It does.
I was very much in the child. Growing up, even when I had Simon and Saoirse, I was still very much in the child. And coming to Australia, it certainly grew me into a man. So I have no regrets in relation to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you did what's best for you, which to some people that's come across, well, that's just selfish. But no, it's not, because at the end of the day, the most important person in someone's life is themselves.
Mm.
And I say to my kids all the time that my health and my life is 100 times more important than them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if we can't look after ourselves, how can we look after anyone else?
And that is the truth of it. You know, I live by it now that I have things that I have to do a lot for myself. I'll always look after and keep myself shaved and keep myself clean, and have that bit of respect for myself.
Yeah.
I like to keep myself fairly fit, and most of all that I keep taking that time for myself, because we all need it. If you're a mother or you're a father or brother or sister, carer or whatever, you do need that bit of time for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, meeting Kim, the lovely Kim. For people that have not seen it, seen Warriors of Attraction yesterday, how did you meet? And like, how did you you're in Australia,
Yeah.
and you just doing what you do? What made you like spot Kim?
The one beautiful thing, like Kim's smile, it lights up. It'll light up a room. And yeah, it was easy to fall in love with Kim. She was truly a beautiful woman. It was easy to see that energy as once we had met, and yeah, and how it has transitioned now. It has been absolutely beautiful. It's just been growing from strength to strength.
Was it love at first sight?
Most definite. There was there was a very much a change of energies, an exchange of the energy field, and I knew that there was something really, really powerful and strong as energy goes, and yeah, it took a few months for it to evolve, but I'm delighted that she persisted, and that I agreed to go. Okay, let's have a cup of tea. You know.
Yeah, I can just picture her now. She'll be smiling like there's no tomorrow. Maybe a little tear in her eye. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. But like
Yeah.
the one interesting thing, like myself and Kim, we're very much like chalk and cheese. You know.
Mm.
You know, I'm very much on the spiritual path and everything, and Kim is all about the development and the mindset. And but if you put it all together, it's very much coming to the one point as well. So even though we're very different, but we're very very similar as well.
There you go. There you go. The spark, the connections, and there you go.
Yeah.
She's also teary.
Yeah. And you know, I would say to anybody, follow your heart and step into yourself. Yeah, you know, step into yourself. Don't be like one of my famous sayings that I say to all my clients. Suppression leads to depression. So if you want to suppress something inside of you and lock it away from no one to ever see it, or no one's ever going to get close to it, it will create some kind of infections, feelings, emotions, and my saying is suppression leads to depression. So you're depressing, yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because what I actually learned is, and I've said this loads of times live, but if you actually take the word depression and write it down, I guarantee if you take each letter and turn it into a statement, it'll happen. Because depression means I moved. What is it? I moved. No, it's not. No, it's not moved. What's it called? It's something on. Something on.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Kerry will remind me of it.
Yeah, somebody there will jump in and
Yeah,
help it out.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you know, I found with many
I
aspects of
pressed on. That's it. I pressed on.
I pressed on. Yeah,
There you go. There you
you
go.
got it. You
And
got it.
that's depression right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So suppression leads to depression. Yeah,
And depression means I pressed on.
yeah, yeah. I pressed on. And you know, for anybody that's suffering out there, or anybody that's finding it difficult, you know, a lot of us are walking the dark night of the soul because it can be very, very fearful in different ways. It's finding that belief system within yourself. You know,
Absolutely.
is it the food that you're eating? Can that help if you cleaned up your diet, or even getting out for a walk, or taking off your shoes and standing on the earth? I never knew exactly what all that meant until my mentors and teachers started showing me different ways and different things that can help. You know, if you're having such deep emotions that you can't talk to anybody, start writing it out. And for me, I planted a little tree, and every day I used to go out and I used to burn off all my notes, and I used to put the ashes into around the tree and watch it grow. And I just felt that everything was beautiful was growing out of what I was releasing. And there, you know, there's different trick sets to help a person to move forward. I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We're all like seeds. That's exactly what we are. And with the right tools, whether it's love, compassion, trust, confidence, we'll blossom.
mm,
We will.
yeah,
We'll blossom.
Yeah, most definitely. And I made it my passion to make me the guinea pig. I didn't need to, because like for what I was suffering, for what I was feeling, no one, like anybody could have shown me all the love in the world, but I didn't love myself. So, like in my life, I kept pressing the red button, and these people were getting ejected out of my life. I was kept pressing the self-destruct button, and I never felt like I deserved it or that I was worthy of it, or that, how can I show the world what I do when I feel so guilty and shame of what and where my life had come from, and
Exactly.
and that was the rawness, and that's what created love and healing within. Love and healing within. I remember I every Sunday morning was journal time. It was the magic moment. I recommend anybody to do it, to take that bit of time out and use the powerhouse from within. And I used to sit in a little cafe over in Waterloo and sit in there, and I'd be there for probably 2 to 3 hours, between motivational speeches, motivational videos, listening to different types of books from different people, and I found myself recharging, um, growing this knowledge in here, which I thought that was not possible because I'm dyslexic. So I had to find all of these different ways to learn. So like when audiobooks are out there now, I was like going, brilliant, brilliant. Now I can learn because hey, I could read a book, but I couldn't understand the book. I had lots of challenges like that to get through in my life. Yeah,
That's brilliant, brilliant. And you know what? Thank you for actually opening up with that. You live with dyslexia. Well,
yes,
thank you for that, because not only are we just focusing on mental health side, but we're actually focusing on disabilities as well, or as I say, abilities, because they all are. This is just a negative side, because that's what you need to do. If you take the DIS, you've got ability right there.
yeah.
And that's what we're focused on at the minute. We focus on autism, SEN, and ADHD. We have never, ever spoken about dyslexia. Never.
I live with it every day. So yeah,
So, what I want to do is at some point, I want to bring you back and actually talk about dyslexia.
yeah, I'd love that.
I really do. I
You know,
really do.
it's interesting. I was catching a flight to come back to see my dad before he passed, and
Okay.
of course, covert and everything. You have to have all these declarations to travel around the world at the moment.
That's right.
And I rocked up to the airport, and I didn't have one of the declarations done. And this beautiful old lady from the airport was standing there helping everybody along. And I said to her, I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm partially dyslexic. And she looked at me and she goes, are you dyslexic or are you not? And she started sharing her story about her brother that was dyslexic, and he decided he wanted to be in the police force. And when he went in, the police officer said, you're very slow at doing the paperwork. And he said, I'm dyslexic. And he said, why didn't you say something? He said, come with me. And now he's a police officer. So there's ways and means and beautiful stories from people standing up and blossoming. Just because we have these labels, don't
Yeah.
ever let it. Yeah, that was it. It's so difficult to go into different places and go, I need help. Can you give me help to fill this form? Can you give me help to understand different things?
Exactly. And I always say, which some people have praised me for, some people have attacked me for. And to be honest, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, that's my view, and I'm fully in my right to voice out what I think. But at the end of the day, we were never born with a manual. We were never born with these labels, whether it's depression, dyslexia, autism, the lot. We were just branded with them. We are. And the question everyone needs to ask themselves is, you was born without it, but now you've got them. Why the hell should you actually let those labels affect your life?
Yeah, very, very much so. Since I've stepped rightly, and I call it stepping out of the spiritual closet, and since I've stepped out of the closet spiritually, I'm embracing the fact that I can actually say these things now, and not to be like, that somebody's going to judge me now, or what are they going to think? Are they going to think less of me now? And that's their journey. If they want to belittle me or try and belittle me, then no one can do that. As Kim would say all the time, no one can make you feel anyway. Yeah. So when Love and Healing came to the light, Spirit said to me this is the name of your company. It's going to be Love and Healing Within. And I said, okay, all right. So I started doing a Google search, and there was no company there. And I was like, wow. So first thing I did, I got my rights to that. And then I started creating, and before I knew it, there was nothing actually, everything was actually sitting and waiting for me. I just needed to find the right people that could help me to manifest it and bring it fully to the table.
Yeah. The last things that I want to talk about, you becoming a Reiki master and a shaman healer.
Yes. Yeah. With the Reiki for me, I wanted to understand more, and I wanted to learn more and how to be able to heal people. Like, one of the interesting things was, how can I heal people at the other side of the world? And I'd always like, does this really work? Can I really do this? From you sitting in that chair, from me sitting in this chair, how can we make that happen? And having those beautiful teachers and teaching me all the tool sets that are needed to make it happen. That's what Reiki really helped my energy to understand. We have energy that comes through us, and it's abundant, and why not share it? And people get that, they get that effect. They feel the results. They see the results within themselves. With the shaman side of it, I absolutely love the shaman work. And shaman is all about energy. That's what it means. And I absolutely love working on the lands. I love clearing spaces. I love helping people to clear their homes. I like helping people. Like, people have lots of energy around them, and I like clearing that stuff as well. It's something that I really, really love doing, and I love meeting other people that have such beautiful abilities and do similar work with in different ways, and have all their knowledge, and just to hear it's really beautiful.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But like when you bring that collective together, that energy of people together, it creates a massive volume of energy, and it's really beautiful when you put that in the lens.
Yeah. Wow.
You have to do it with a nice clean heart, clean thoughts, clean eating. It's about looking after everything.
Absolutely. You know what? As powerful as this is, I want to thank you for coming on.
Look, I thank you. It's my first one-on-one, and I thank you for allowing me to come and speak. I love what you do, and I want more and more people around the world to tap into this. And there is avenues that people can learn, people can be supported. There is networks there all over the world. Like, this is the one beautiful thing about having this access, that we can actually grow as a family around the world.
Yeah.
And there is amazing people doing amazing work out there. And I won't stop what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and I'll do it to the day I'll die. And I had one dream was that if I could help at least one person in my life to not to try and take their own life or whatever they're going through. That was my goal, and like I'm willing to, the numbers are climbing constantly of different people that I'm helping in different ways. Did I ever think that I would be doing this? I didn't actually. I never thought that I'd be actually doing this, but um, I just know that I'm doing what I love now. I've found my purpose, and people are amazing, and I just want them to see that they are amazing themselves as well. We've been given a gift, and why not to try and embrace it as much as possible? The hardest is to understand everything that's going on. So if I can help people to understand a bit more about themselves, and if I don't know, I'll put my hand up and I'll say, well, I got friends, and we'll definitely find somebody that can resonate with you, what needs to be done, because there is always somebody out there that can help.
I
Always.
agree.
You're not alone. You're not alone. You don't have to do this on your own. The one interesting thing that I learned was for men, most men in the spectrums that they say, like for abuse or anything, it takes an average of 25 to 29 years or so for people to find their voice, which is really truly sad, because that's a long time to be carrying all of that energy.
Yeah.
You
It,
know,
it, it is. I'm just one of them as well, because growing up, I was actually abused from the age of 3 years old, and I lived in silence for 21 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I found my voice.
And I thank you for finding your voice, because it's about doing that work. And you know what? It's great that you can actually sit and you can have those conversations worldwide now, and that us as fathers and brothers, that we can actually help and support other people. That just because we had to carry that cross, we can help and shine the light for other people.
Exactly. And as Elizabeth says, very empowering.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah.
So all I can say is thank you everyone for tuning in. And if I had to leave you with one thing, which I have to repeat what Mike said, is if you hit rock bottom, it'll look negative, and it'll feel like you're in this little box and the walls are closing in. But just remember, your feet, they're on the ground, and the only way is up. So see it as a positive as well, and an opportunity.
And don't be scared to reach out and contact people. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, there's organisations here. So please share this, everyone, because I've even been empowered by this. Bit of housekeeping. We're going creative tomorrow. Tomorrow is Art My Medicine with Dorota Chiama, as she welcomes the lovely Ali Ryan. So, yeah, tune in for that. That's 9 a.m. UK tomorrow. See you later.
Thanks, Adam.